Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Hey, everybody, Merry Christmas from Northern Illinois and Fernvalley Honeybees. Look at this, it's beautiful. It's Christmas Day. I've got the sweater on, I've got the hat, I'm standing outside. It's about 8:30 in the morning, and look at how nice this is. The sun's trying to come out. This is crazy, we love it. Christmas Day. Actually, I talked to a friend of mine just this morning. She texted me and said, Merry Christmas. They were baling hay yesterday. You believe that? And that is like unheard of. It was probably not real good hay, but if it was dry enough, it was baled, and wow. I actually seen someone doing that last week, actually, baling some round bales. It's just crazy for this time of year, the weather. So I'm hoping we get through January, which starts next week, and the weather stays like this because I'll love it. And my bees will love it. And that's what we're doing today. We're talking about bees. I am working on my 2020 bee yard expansion. You can see it right here. And I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing here. Let me bring the camera over here. What's going on here is this is going to be, and you can't see me, hold on. This is going to be my expansion for, my plan is to put, there's enough hives here for 11 hives. I'm planning on making 2 rows of these, just one for now. Possibly this time next year I'll be doing another video and expanding this. My plan is to make all my honey production hives over here, while the rest of my hives, which are over here, right there, I'm going to keep resource hives over there, I'm going to keep nukes over there. When I do my splits, I'll leave half the split there, leave the other parts here. But what I want to show you what I'm doing here, which is kind of a unique idea. I'll actually give this, a friend of mine gave me this idea. So Paul, if you're watching this, here's your kudos, right? I've got all this pro rib barn siding left over. Over on the other hives over there, what I did is I used roofing paper, felt paper. I put underneath, because you don't want all the weeds obviously coming up from underneath your hives. You want to try and keep your weeds under control. And one way you could do that, and actually I'll link the video at the end of this, I'll link that video at the end of this video. You can make a homemade weed killer that's non-toxic to your bees. All it is vinegar and salt water, and it works really well actually. You spray it around your hives or on the ground, and it kills the weeds pretty quick. Not as fast as like Roundup or a weed killer will, but it works. But I'll put that video at the end of this so you can watch that. Because that's the whole purpose of this, is to put this pro rib down. Also, for you beekeepers that are watching this, hive beetles. Depending on where you live, up here in Northern Illinois, I always tell people, give you an idea where I'm at. I'm about 70 miles, Chicago is that way, about 70 miles west of Chicago. That's where we're at, up Northern Illinois. Hive beetles are a real problem too. What happens is the beetles fall out of the hive, they'll crawl up in the hive, they'll fall down, they bury into the ground, and I want to say it takes 28 days, I could be wrong, for them to remultiply in the ground, and they come right back. And hive beetles can be a real nuisance. They get in your hive, they get in your comb, they just make a mess out of everything. A strong colony will kick the hive beetles out. And you can also use beetle traps. The little beetle, what are they called? The beetle barn, I want to say. It's a little plastic trap. You put boric acid in there, and that works really, really well. You stick it like underneath. Last year I put them in my my sliding trays. My plastic tray that I do my mite counts on, I put it on there, and I got some. But this year, when I put them in, I'm actually going to lift the bottom box up, put it on and I have screen bottom board, so I'm going to put it on top of the screen so it's actually inside the hive. See if I can catch more beetles. I didn't have too bad of a problem, but they were there. I had more of a problem with picnic bugs actually. God, they were real bad. I had picnic bugs everywhere. There's a video on that in there somewhere if you search back. I did a video on that. What a mess them things were. Oh my God. But anyways, the whole point to this, it's going to keep the weeds down. It's going to really slow down the hive beetles. You're still going to get some, but this is really going to slow it down, because now you got metal, basically sheets of metal laid down, and the weeds can't come through. There are holes in this because this is old stuff. So I used it when I took down a lean-to. If you've been watching the videos on me building my honey barn, what used to be there was an old lean-to that I used to store hay in. I should have did it. After I tore it down, I'm like, I should have done a video on that. But this all came off of that. I had a covered lean-to, a roof, and 3 sides. I kept all my hay in. I tore all that down, and that's where this all came from. I used part of that I've used it for other stuff. I'll use it for building lean-tos for the horses outside, for shelters. I always put the old stuff on the backside, so from the road you can't see it. But this stuff's got holes in it, so my whole point to that is the water will drain through it. It won't just sit on it, but it will just run off. One reason I'm doing this today, because it's beautiful out. It's been beautiful all week. Also, I want to get this on the ground so it kind of settles. Because obviously winter is going to come. It's going to happen. We can't do nothing about it. It's going to snow. It's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. It's, you know, when spring gets here, it's going to be rainy and wet. This is already down, so it's going to pack and settle itself into the ground really nice. And actually pretty level. For just all I did was lay this on the ground. This part of my pasture here is pretty flat. And if you look at these boards, you can see some of them are kind of crooked. If you look down them, they're not the straightest things in the world. But these are the posts that I pulled out from that building I tore down, or for that lean-to I tore down. So why waste them, right? I used a couple of them for my what am I trying to say? I can't think of the word. What am I trying to say? My open feeders. There you go. I used a couple of them for my open feeders, which I'm going to reposition over here somewhere. And I got a couple of more of these boards left. So why buy more, right? I'm going to use them, just reuse them. I am going to put down the 2x4 spaces. That's the only thing I'm going to do to this for this year. You know, my hives are, I forget how wide however wide your hive is, that's how wide my bottom board is. I put a 2x4 on one side, a 2x4 on the other side. This way they can't shift back and forth. I use green treated lumber, because obviously green treated is for outside. So I'm still going to do that. I'm going to get they're pretty much already, they're not going to twist anymore. When you buy green lumber, you got to be careful. If you're going to do this and you buy green lumber, make sure if you don't use it right away, tie it together. Like let's just say you buy 4 of them, or 8 of them, or whatever you buy, 10 of them. You got them all in a pile, nail them together. Nail them on the side, nail them on the top, on either end. If you don't, they're going to twist. They're going to dry and they're going to twist. If you go buy yourself, let's say 10 4x4 10 footers. Let's say you buy them now, you're thinking, they were on sale, I'm going to use them in the spring. Well, you better do something. You better tie them together, because if you don't, spring's going to come, you're going to have a bunch of twisted boards. That's just what they do. When they start to dry, they twist. That's why when I built my honey barn, I put them in the ground, I tied them all together right away. Because I had 16 footers. You put 16 feet in the ground, let it just sit there and dry out, all of a sudden that board's just going to twist. That's just what they do. These probably won't twist anymore because they're pretty old. God, I put those things in 20 years ago. And I cut the bad ends off as I made this thing fit together. So there's enough boards here. There's enough length for 21 hive, or I'm sorry, for 11 hives. 22 total when I make another row of this next year. So why not reuse what you can? Because these ain't cheap. The Cinder Blocks, I got a whole bunch more of these left over too. We had an old Kmart in town that closed, and the company that moved in there remodeled. There was a mountain of bricks out in front one day. God, this was about a year and a half ago when they were remodeling it. There was a mountain of bricks out there, and it was anybody that wanted to take them, get them out of there. So of course I went there and picked a whole bunch of them. Here's what's left of them sitting right here. I got them all sitting right there on the ground. That's what's left of them, and I am going to use those at some point. I don't know when, but they're just sitting there. Bricks don't go bad, so when I'll use them for more of these hives or for my hive stands. That's why they're out here. I'll use them for my hive stands. But yeah, they were tearing that building down, so I took a whole bunch of them. So anyways, I just wanted to show this idea to all you beekeepers out there. If you're going to expand your yard or you want to do something different, I would like to get those underneath over there. But those hives obviously are heavy, because they're starting to, I don't know why they're doing it now. They've been there almost 2 years. They're settling a little bit, and the bricks have kind of shifted. And a couple of my hives have tipped. So what I'm going to have to do is buy some patio blocks and stick those underneath there to raise the fronts up a little bit. They're kind of leaning forward, so they probably won't go any farther. But I don't like looking at it. They're crooked and it drives me nuts. Anyways, so these ain't bad. These are pretty straight for used lumber for 20-year-old boards. They're solid. I cut the bad ends off. You can see they're not perfectly straight yet, but I'm gonna screw. I use treated 2x4s and I use decking screws. And I don't use nails, because if you want to pull it apart and you start trying to pull it out with nails, you wind up tearing everything apart. So I use the decking screws. They work out really well. They're gold, or you can get the galvanized ones, whichever work. But I am gonna put the nails down. I got to come out here, figure out how many I need, how many boards I need, how many 8-foot boards, because obviously they're 2 feet apart. 2 feet, go right down the line. That'll all be set, and that will sit here till the spring when I start doing my splits. And when I do my splits, I will take the split and put the first part over here. If I get any new, I'm toying with the idea of getting 1 or 2 new packages of bees. I like the carniolas. My carnies did really, really well this year, and the carnies really seem to grow fast. They really seem to grow fast. So there's a chance I still might buy another package, even though I don't need to now. I've got enough stuff here to split, but I might just buy one, wait a little while, split that, just to grow this thing a little quicker out here. And then this, like I said, this is all going to be my honey yard over here. That's the plan anyway. With bees, you can't say this is what I'm going to do because that always changes. You never know. So anyways, hopefully you guys kind of like this idea. Give it, you know, here's a thought. Even if you buy the new galvanized siding, it's not as cheap as it used to be, but like a 10-foot sheet, up here anyways, a 10-foot sheet of this galvanized color, not painted, is about $2 cheaper than the painted. Like a 10-foot sheet of white pro rib is about 25 bucks. So a 10-foot sheet of galvanized, which means it's not painted, I want to say it's about $22, $23. So, I mean, it's not the cheapest thing, but it's not the most expensive. But just think what it's going to save you. No weeds. Me, I hate spiders. I do not like. I want nothing to do with a spider. It's going to save all them weeds, and in the fall, them big ugly spiders come out. So no weeds coming up underneath your hive. Going to help your hive beetle problem. And it's just going to make everything look just so much neater. But the biggest thing is your hive beetles, your weeds, keeping it under control. And like I said, I'll link that video up here somewhere about the natural weed killer, the salt water and vinegar. It works really well. Just go around the outside and spray it. You got to do a little bit more often than weed killer because obviously it's not a poison, but it does work. So anyways, that is my story. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you learned something from this. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button right here. Or you can hit the subscribe button right here at the end of this video. And subscribe to the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Help support this channel. When you do subscribe, hit the little bell next to that subscribe button. This way you'll get notified when one of these videos comes out. I think I've covered everything in this. You guys all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.